Hello, everyone, and welcome to EduMatch. So tonight we're going to be talking personalized PD. We have a fantastic moderator, Nicole, and a fantastic panel with us. So please follow along with us on the live video feed at bit.ly/tweettalk57, as well as on Twitter with the hashtag EduMatch. Speaking of EduMatch, if you want to be EduMatched, if you want to be EduMatched like this and you want to be the person of the day, then just visit our website at edumatch.org and fill out the Google form. You can also get a cool t-shirt like the one I have on right now. So just wanted to give a shout out before we get started to the EduPassions Conference going on this Saturday. It's going to be a fun, free day of learning going from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And some of the great panelists that we have on board will also be presenting there. So definitely check it out. You don't want to miss it. All right, so tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about personalized PD. So all right, so our moderator, Nicole, just stepped away, but I'm sure that she'll be back. But if we could just go ahead and introduce ourselves. So we'll start from left to right. So if you can just, we'll start with Jarod. So if you could just say your name, your position, where you're from, and anything else you want to share about yourself.
Sure. My name is Jarod Bormann. I was a classroom teacher in a middle school and high school classroom that was one of those iPads, but now I'm starting my third year as a technology integration specialist with an area education agency here in the state of Iowa. There are several of us throughout the entire state that are funded by the state, so we're here to serve schools and teachers and students in multiple different capacities. And one area of expertise and passion of mine that's come about in the last few years while being in this role is trying to shift the paradigm of what professional development can be.
All right, fantastic, fantastic. And if we could go next to Jason.
Hi, I am Jason Bretzmann. I'm from Wisconsin. I'm a teacher and innovation integrator, and I've been in that role for as an innovation integrator for about 3 years, and co-author of the book Personalized PD, Flipping Your Professional Development. Looking forward to a great conversation with some great educators tonight.
All right, fantastic. If we go next to Kim.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kimberly Lane. I am a blended learning specialist in Texas, and I'm also, make sure you follow me on as Ask a Techno Girl, and I'm here to, ready to learn about some wonderful conversations tonight.
All right, fantastic. And going to another Kim. We have lots of Kims tonight.
Hey everybody, it's Kimberly Howell down here in Daytona Beach, Florida. I'm a media specialist in an elementary school, and being an only in a school kind of forces you to personalize your own PD just straight out of the chute, just because. So anyway, glad to be here tonight.
All right, fantastic. Welcome back. And Nicole is here as well. So Nicole, I'm going to actually have you introduce yourself and have you take it from here. All right, let's go next to Matt.
Hello, team. I'm Matt Frattali, an academic technologist from Washington, D.C., and I'm really glad to be here.
All right, great, great. All right, next we have Michelle.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Hayes, and after being an instructional coach for the last couple of years, I've returned back to the classroom this year teaching 6th and 7th grade gifted class and an 8th grade general ed, but I'm still very much involved in PD and passionate about it. I'm in Savannah, Georgia at a K-8 school, and that's the first experience being a K-8 school.
K-8, that is a fun age group. Great. All right, Veronica.
Hi, I'm Veronica Dougherty. I'm a high school English teacher, but I'm starting this year as an instructional coach. So I'm really excited about personalizing PD, and I look forward to this conversation.
All right, fantastic. So welcome to all of our fantastic panelists. Now let's see if our moderator is able to, okay, so she just had to drop, but I have a feeling that she will be back very shortly. So while we're waiting for her to come back, then I'll just introduce myself, which is something I usually never do. Okay, she's back. A quick introduction. Sarah Thomas here from the D.C. metro area. I am a regional technology coordinator. So perfect timing, Nicole. If you could just please introduce yourself, and then I'll have you take it away.
Great, let's see. Maybe I can stay on long enough to get through an introduction. Hello, everyone. I am Knikole Taylor. I am a blended learning specialist in a school district right outside of Dallas, Texas. Really excited to talk about personalized PD because the last year of my professional life has just been like on fire because of personalized PD. So I am really excited to discuss this with everyone today.
All right, fantastic. So we have all made introductions. We all know each other now. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you officially, Knikole, to go ahead and take it away with your first question.
Great. So the first question that I have for everyone here is, what did you guys do? Like, what was your first experience with personalized PD? Can you share that with us, please? And I guess we'll start over here on the end with Jarod.
My first experience was actually working with a school district that couldn't quite fill the tech coordinator role within their district, and so I was able to sit at the table with the administrators and some of the instructional coaches and the two librarians, and in that conversation of kind of planning, this is a school district looking to go 1-to-1, 6-12, a fairly large one with laptops, and so a pretty hefty initiative. And so as we were trying to plan the technology PD for the year, it was apparent that it was kind of, they need some of this, they need some of that, they need some of this, and it was kind of like a a la carte style where they were starting to pick which area they wanted to go to. But it was the question asked by the superintendent at the moment that he said, look, I understand these are all great needs that we need our teachers to understand moving forward with our one-to-one initiative, but what about the teachers that don't need any of those tools? And it was that big question that then kind of allowed me to I had the freedom then at that point to then sort of develop ideas on like, well, how do we serve those teachers that are already professionally driven and growth mindset, that are already seeking out that stuff, to continue to do that. And so it was through that sort of little journey that we came up with a model of personalized PD that has been pretty successful and has been replicated in other school districts as well within the area that I work in. Did my screen freeze or did Knikole freeze?
All right, yeah, I think Knikole may be frozen. So let's go next to Jason.
Well, I guess my first experience would be with Twitter and the hashtag #FlipClass. When I started flipping my class several years ago, and all the community that was built there, and all the great blogs that were shared, and the great chats that we had Monday nights, and actually it led us to writing a book together because we figured, hey, not everybody's on Twitter, but everybody could benefit from all this great stuff. And one of the chapters was about flipping your professional development, and that sort of became almost an epiphany, like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I've wanted all these years of teaching, and somebody spelled it out. And so I started pursuing it that way and just finding different options, different ideas, different people to connect with. And it's really become, this glorious feeling of, like a Daniel Pink kind of autonomy, mastery, and purpose that, I'm going after what I need because my students need it and I need to find out about it. And now I'm trying to, encourage others, to give people that option as well.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. And Kim, how about you?
Well, my first experience was about 5 years ago, where basically I went to a campus technology conference, and basically I was able to learn about professional development through different conferences, and I started thinking about, I think there's a lot of professional development going on. I thought it was a lot of personalized PD that was going on, and I started thinking about it and researching what could I do, and so that's how I got to where I am now. So it's just 5 years ago. That was my first experience.
Great. And how about you, Kim, in Florida?
Well, mine basically started with Twitter. And the Reform Symposium online conference back in probably 2010, 2011. And since then, I have just, whenever I'm interested in something, I seek it out. And if I can't find it on Twitter, then I look in other avenues, Simple K-12, Google Plus, any of the social networks or PD networks, that's where I go to. And there's also Global Librarians is also another group that I'm in, and that has helped me tremendously as a media specialist.
Thanks for sharing, Kimberly. Matthew.
Thanks, Nicole. So, a lot of what has already been said applies to me. I think the one thing I'd add is, and people know what I'm going to say, I'm an EdCamp junkie. I go to 10 to 12 per year. I can't get enough. And now I'm recently turned on to online EdCamps, like EdCamp Global just blew me away. And Sarah's EduMatch EdCamp online blew me away. She's had her Vox. I didn't go to the Voxer, but she's having another one after Christmas. And so they're popping up all over the place. I'm trying to organize one called EdCamp Creativity, October 22nd. So I just love, it's like I love Daniel Pink. You love Daniel Pink. We all love Daniel Pink. But I'm going to learn as much from Jason and Jarod and Lane. And I'm going to learn as much from you guys. And you're going to want to hear what I say. Because Daniel Pink could care less what I have to say, really. I mean, he's a nice guy, and he's worked hard for everything he's had. But I'm going to learn as much from you, and I'm going to see you again, and I'm going to talk to you again. And anyway, so I love participant-driven PD.
Thank you. And we're a lot of head nods with the EdCamp. Okay, Michelle, go ahead.
Well, I think the first time I was an instructional coach was around 2009. All of us have been in those professional development workshops where it's a one-size cookie-cutter fits all, and people just shut down and tune out and they're totally bored. But something has evolved, like Jarod said recently, and part of it has been because of social media. We're finding a need to tailor it more to people. Not only that, we've all been in those trainings where they're teaching you how to differentiate for students and personalize it for students, but they're not modeling what they're preaching. So it became very critical to me several years ago to first find out exactly what my teachers need, what their interests were, and to even talk to some people the day before the training, or some days before the training, to make sure that you've got them on board. Because the worst thing in the world is to go into a situation and everybody's shut down and everybody's kind of hostile. So it's so important to first kind of do a needs assessment, really fill out what people's interests are, because adult learners must see the relevancy or they totally will shut down. And it needs to be something that's immediate, like almost right now, and that you can build on and sustain and follow up with them and see it emerge. But they need to be able to see the application almost immediately for them to really buy in.
Yes, I agree with that. Even more so than students have to be able to make a connection with what you're doing right now. Sarah.
All right, so the way that I found out about personalized professional learning is that I didn't even know that there was such a thing until probably my the very first conference I attended gave me a taste of it, probably back in 2009, I want to say, where I got to pick which sessions I got to go to and things of that nature, and just getting a taste of that just rocked my world. And now, since we have this boom in social media, and we also have ed camps that wasn't around back then. I think they started the year after that. Then it's just been a whole game changer. So I love learning with all of you and with the whole EduMatch crew and with other PLNs that I'm a part of. So definitely.
And let's not leave out the Google Summits. I'm high on those too.
Oh. Thank you, Sarah. Veronica, would you like to share with us how you began your personalized PD journey?
Thanks, Nicole. I, too, am on Twitter, and I find myself, whenever I have a few minutes, I'm looking at that feed, because I learn more sometimes in 2 minutes on a Thursday than I did all in graduate school, sometimes I feel like. And ed camps, I love them, and I have to agree with Matt. The last couple of online ones were wonderful, so I'm looking forward to EduPassions next week.
Thank you for sharing. And I'm going to just share a snippet. I actually found out about egg camps via Twitter. I was on a chat on Twitter, and someone in there mentioned about egg camp, and I said, well, what is that? And he started talking about what it was, and I said, whatever it is, I just have to get to one. The nearest one was 4 hours away, so I jumped in my car, drove to Houston, and even before I got there, I knew we had to have one. So from the face-to-face egg count, just from there, I jumped in some Twitter chats. I did Egg Camp Boxer, and that's where I found out about Jason's book. And from there, we actually did a book study with Personalized PD, and it's like it didn't happen until like my 13th, 14th year as an educator, and I feel like a brand new teacher. Like, I found a newfound love and passion for what I'm doing. So it's amazing. It's amazing. So when I first found out about Personalized PD, it was more like on a teacher end. Now I have a new position that I started this year, and I actually get to have a bigger voice in PD. So I want to know, I see more districts taking a shift to Personalized PD, if you were able to say something to the professional learning director for your role, if it's a school district or if you're college level, wherever you teach, what would you say to the people who are planning professional development? And Jarod, if you don't mind, can we just start with you and go right on down?
Sure. I would probably say to them, their role or your role is going to be very similar to how I started to view my role as not necessarily a teacher in the classroom, but a facilitator of learning during the latter years of teaching, when I began to sort of flip and blend my own classroom. And that allowed me to empower the students to be able to learn. I was merely creating the environment that allowed the students to be intrinsically motivated, allowed them to start to kind of develop a growth mindset for themselves. And then, in a sense, I was just the facilitator of all of that. And so that person within a district who has that ability to do that for the staff, I would say that would be your main goals, is going to be how can we begin to formulate professional development that is embedded in intrinsic motivation, as Matt pointed out with Daniel Pink earlier. But also, on top of that, how do we continue to foster a growth mindset? Because if you can create that environment for your teachers within your district and empower them to be able to be driven with their own learning, all teachers, not just the ones that are already professionally driven, but all teachers, you will really start to see some good things happen, probably instructionally within the classrooms as well.
Thanks for sharing, Jarod. I heard you say growth mindset. I was making myself a note that we probably need to look into that, making sure that the teachers in our district understand that, and that we're really, helping them to really develop and grow a growth mindset for themselves professionally and also for teachers. Would anyone else like to give some advice to the PD leaders, those planning professional development?
I'll jump in if it's okay.
Sure.
I'd say to the PD director that it's okay if everybody doesn't get the same thing, and it's okay if they don't get it in the same way. Some people might like to read the book about the growth mindset. Some people might like to read 3 or 4 blogs about it. Some people might like to go to a Twitter chat about it. And some people might already be there and they might not need it. And they maybe need the next step, or how do I implement it, or what are some lessons I can incorporate it into. And so it's okay if we meet everybody where they are and help everybody move forward. And the key then is the growth. It is the progress. It is that constant progress, and that's got to be the key. Wherever you are is okay, and we're going to help you get moving forward. And if we can get everybody to get that, then we can personalize PD everywhere.
And I agree with Jason. We have to start with meeting people where they are. But right now, I think there's a tremendous shift that we need to really tap into more people's passions and help inspire them to teach kids to be more curious and allow kids to have more talk, sustained talk about things that they're curious about, and really move toward having a more inquiry-based classroom than we ever had before, with the emphasis on STEM and STEAM, and us trying to transition more kids into the sciences in that manner. It's really an opportunity for us to allow teachers to flourish with their own creativity and their passions. I mean, bring in Genius Hour. Give everybody an opportunity to really start looking at things that they really love. And when you do that, then they're going to really buy into the professional development.
Yeah, Michelle, that just kind of ties into when Jason was speaking, and then you kind of followed up that we have to make sure that we model the things that we want teachers to take back to their classrooms. If we want students to have growth mindset, if we want students to be in classrooms that are, inquiry based, and where they really get to explore their passions, and as we facilitate PD, we have to also give teachers opportunity to have those same experiences so they can take them back to their students. Really, really good. Would anyone else like to give any advice to those PD directors?
The only thing go ahead.
I don't know. I was just saying, basically, put yourself in their shoes. Think about, would you really want to be in your session, or would you really want to take this PD? That's what I always think about anytime I'm creating a professional development. I always look and see, okay, is this really something that I want to learn, or did I give a choice? If this particular person has already gained that knowledge, did I give them a choice to still be in that particular session but still get worth their whatever they're sitting at that particular time?
I concur with Kim on that. Yesterday, I spent the whole day with simple K through 12. I think I sat in 6 sessions. How beautiful would it be if I could go back to my district and tell them all the wonderful things I learned yesterday, and that count, and I get credit for that? Why does it always have to be district-driven? Why does it always have to be something that they've shaped? Why can't I choose my professional learning and it also count?
Okay, we have a question from a viewer. They want to know how much, Ben is asking, how much responsibility does an individual teacher or leader have for personalizing their own PD? Anyone want to address that?
I wouldn't mind jumping in on that one. I think as a reflective educator, I think we all have a responsibility for personalizing our own PD. I mean, as I think about what I need as a media specialist and what I need to grow in and that sort of thing, I'm going to have to seek out those opportunities to learn and grow. It might be a book, it might be a Twitter chat, it might be I might learn something at an ed camp that would help me, but ultimately, it depends on what I need, and I think teachers need to think along those lines, especially now that a lot of our evaluation systems have that reflection component built in. You kind of have to look at it from that perspective. I mean, not limiting yourself totally, but at least looking at it initially from that direction.
I agree, and I see Jared posted, you have to also think about what is your goal. Do you want to train teachers, or do you want them to actually learn? I think that gives a big spin on how you present PD and how you think about training teachers. Training, do you just want to train, or do you actually want them to walk away with something that's sustainable, something that they can actually do something with? Go ahead, Jared.
Just to add to that, that's something that I do with school districts is sometimes when I throw out the idea of possibly doing personalized PD, I will sort of do an audit with the administrators around the table, and I'll say, let's take a look at the initiatives that you're doing right now. Which ones fall under the category of training, the have to know, versus learning, the want to know? And when I go through that process, they realize that the umbrella of professional development really has been dominated by the training, and the opportunity to learn with teachers has completely fallen to the wayside. And no fault to them. There are so many mandates out there right now that I understand that administrators feel that pressure. So it's just getting to that conversational piece of trying to sort the two, so that way we can now start to block off that real learning time for teachers and keep that time sacred and don't chip into it at all.
Very good point. I have another question. Zena wants to know, how do you keep from being overwhelmed? I know I've heard people mention EdCamp Voxer, there's face-to-face EdCamp, there's EdCamp Global, there's simple, I saw the simple K-12 Chromebook learning. I was in and out. So how do you guys keep it all straight and keep from getting overwhelmed with all of this awesomeness? There's so much to learn and so many places to learn.
I think one thing, it's kind of canon that you have to start on Twitter. Like if you're going to do social media, like it's just, that's the way it's done. And one thing I'm going to try to experiment with is, Twitter's hard. It's easy for everybody here, but it's hard for the English teacher down the hallway who has no PLN outside of their building. So, Voxer's pretty easy. It's more intimidating because it's your voice, but it's like one orange button. Like you push it and you talk. And Sarah's actually built this beautiful community of really welcoming people. I would probably start, there's a lot of communities like Tosa Chat, but that's pretty intimidating for a newcomer. EduMatch is a pretty, and so I haven't done it yet, but if somebody was interested in it, I think I'd actually start there. I don't know how it work out, but that's something that's an interesting experiment.
I always recommend that people start with social media by setting aside some time for it. So every Tuesday for 15 minutes, I'm going to check out the Twitter feed or the Voxer group or whatever it is, so that it doesn't become overwhelming, or it becomes as overwhelming as you want it to be. It's that time when you're doing your professional development, and then when that time is over, you let it go. And the other thing I always say is that it's that fire hydrant in the face. It doesn't have to be that. I think of it as this pleasant stream of goodness that's flowing by, just like the stream outside of your house or in the park or whatever it is. It continues to go by even though you're not there. Dip your feet in, get refreshed and get rejuvenated, and then walk out and let the stream continue.
I agree, Jason. I think that's what I do as well. I started with Twitter, then I went to Voxer, then I went to like the Google Plus communities and things like that. So I agree, Jason. That's a really good way to put it for the teachers that kind of get overwhelmed with all social media and everything. So I agree.
And I think a good thing to point out there. I'm so glad that Matthew made the point that social media doesn't have to be Twitter. Like, that's not the place that you have to start. So kind of letting teachers decide which avenue they want to go. Maybe they want to start with Google+, or they want to start with Voxer, or they want to start with Periscope. The idea is to get out of the confines of your four walls, out of your building, and make connections with others. So I am going to say thank you so much for joining us today for EduMatch Tweet and Talk. I love the idea of personalized PD. It has really changed my life. My life as an educator over the last year. I've met pretty much everyone here I've met because of social media and because of personalized PD, ed camps, and those kind of things. So is there anyone who has any final thoughts before we sign off for the day? Thank you again for joining us all. As was mentioned before, EduMatch is a great place to start to make those connections, to really grow your PLN and really start to personalize your PD. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you, Nicole, and thank you to everyone on panel for having joined us. Thank you to everyone having tweeted with us and watched and participated. So this episode will be transcribed. The chat transcript will be sent out in just a couple minutes, and it will also be available as an iTunes podcast within a few weeks. So come back next week. We are going to be talking about blogging with moderator John Harper. So that is bit.ly/tweettalk58. And then I believe the following week after that we're good. And then after that you might see a little change in the naming conventions because we'll be moving over to YouTube Live. So definitely stay tuned for that. That should be fun. Change is always fun, right? So anyone can be a panelist. Just go ahead and leave a comment at the URL that I said, bit.ly/tweettalk58. And let's see, just once again, remember the EduPassions Conference is coming up this Saturday, edupassions.org, so check it out. And also, get your EduMatch shirt. You can wear it at these great ed camps coming up all over the place, or whatever educational event that you have going on. So that's also available at edumatch.org. So Thanks again to everyone, and have a wonderful evening. See you next week, same bad time, same bad channel.